We never know where life will lead us or what may hinder us along the way. But while every day can feel like one big question mark, it doesn't have to. With the right insights, strategies, and solutions from Western and Southern Financial Group, together we can look ahead to leave the unknown behind.
Recording this June 15th, 2021. No updates after recording the podcast yesterday. However, we did have some good discourse over a recent development in your love life, in your love circles. If you could elaborate, I have some comments, I have some feedback.
This isn't love life at all.
It's always love life with you, Mike.
Someone I know. This is a new thing for me. The first person
You've known intimately.
No.
No? Oh, okay, maybe I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay, so someone I know started an OnlyFans. Like someone that I'm friends with.
Oh, okay.
A girl that I like. This is the first time that has happened that I've know of people around the Cincinnati area.
You've hung out with her before.
Yes, and like talked to her, and like she worked at a gym I used to go to. And it's not like I know of people around the Cincinnati area that also have OnlyFans, but I'm not
friends with them.
Yes, exactly. And so basically, the first thing that goes to my head is I have to subscribe, right? Like,
yeah.
I just have to. You gotta
So
know.
how did you originally find out about it?
So she posted on her Snapchat.
Wow.
Which was a play. And I was like, all right. I mean, it's 2021. Whatever you want to do. Hey, however you want to make your money. I'm not judging by any means. But I also have to subscribe. Like, I don't
know if that's true. Like, do you have to subscribe?
I feel like you gotta support small business.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. So you subscribe to the OnlyFans. I guess to use the Snapchat, to leverage your own social media channels to promote that, it just feels like it's a risky play.
I know. I was just very surprised. She did not strike me as, no one strikes you as type that would start an OnlyFans.
Well,
but
some of the chicks.
That's maybe not so true. But so if you knew someone who started an OnlyFans, you would not.
I don't think so.
That's to me is an auto subscribe.
At least for a month. Maybe it's an auto trial. Like it's at least a trial. I don't know if is she offering free trials. No. Okay. And so what are we talking here? Is it like a Rex Ryan feet hub or
15 a month? No nudes.
No nudes.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's just an Instagram account at that point. I don't know what's going on here. You're paying $15 a month to see no nudes.
Well, I'm not paying $50 a month anymore. I'm gonna unsubscribe.
Oh, wow. You're gonna unsubscribe after seeing some of that.
Well, that's what you got. 1 month.
Yeah.
Is what you get.
Dude, I was listening to a TikTok on Riley Reid talking about her OnlyFans, and she was saying that she makes the most money like creating other dudes' dick pics. Like they'll send them that.
What a finesse.
That's just insane. Like
that's such an easy. I'll grade. Okay, I was about to say I'll grade it.
Wait, whoa.
If it makes that much money, but I immediately stop myself. I will not be grading your dick pics.
All right, let's just start grading some draft prospects.
To clarify, do not send dick pics into 2-point draft.
Let's start grading some draft picks here. OnlyFans, though. Support small businesses is kind of the end takeaway there. I think we should have more morals to each story. Support small businesses where they're trying to have success. They're hurting. They're definitely hurting. All right. We're going to do 16 bold predictions for offensive rookies here. I have 8. You have 8. I have not seen yours. Have you seen mine?
I've not seen yours either. So we came up with these independently of each other.
All righty then. Well, let's go ahead and you kick us off. You kick us off with your first bold prediction, offensive rookie bold prediction.
Bold prediction, 3rd round pick, safety for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Andre Cisco leads all rookies.
Offensive rookies. The name of the podcast is Offensive Rookies, Mike.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. Want me to start? Yeah. Too busy freaking subscribing to OnlyFans and stuff that you don't even have time to actually research. I'll start. Trevor Lawrence.
I thought it was just.
I'm starting out hot. Trevor Lawrence doesn't rank inside the top 10 in PFF grade in 2021.
Wait, doesn't rank inside the top 10?
No. I think he ranks outside the top 10. I think his supporting cast has been overrated. overrated. Everyone's talking about DJ Chark. Laviska Shenault Jr. looks like the best receiver there. People are super excited about, Travis Etienne. He's getting reps at wide receiver. I think the offensive line is not as good as they say it is. I also think DJ Chark, to some degree, is a bit overrated in terms of what he is as a receiver. Not a true separator. Not a guy that I think Trevor Lawrence has had. Obviously, he's had success with other guys before that are of that bigger frame. But T. Higgins is a better separator than DJ Chark, in my opinion. DJ Chark also coming off injury. All I'm saying is, and we've had a lot of conversation about this is the best prospect since Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck did not hit the ground running. Andrew Luck, it took time. And the Indianapolis Colts supporting cast, he did not rank inside the top 10 in PFF grade until, I think 2 years into his NFL career, and then really started to hit his stride right before retiring from the NFL. I think not because Trevor Lawrence isn't a great prospect. I just think it's been overhyped to the point that how fast he's going to hit the ground running, especially with how many new faces are there for Jacksonville. It's an entirely new coaching staff. Urban Meyer coaching in the NFL for the first time ever. There's going to be some growing pains here. And if there aren't, this is absurd. And I know Chris Collinsworth on the Chris Collinsworth podcast said this could be a 10-win team. And the AFC South, with the Titans adding Julio Jones, Colts, I think, are still tied to be the favorite to win that division. I like their chances more than other divisions. It's not the toughest division in football, but still, I think there's almost too much newness for all of these people to hit the ground running. And even with the less than COVID-19 not impacting this offseason, I think it's going to take more time than people think.
All right. I mean, I think the fact that it is bold of you to say Trevor Lawrence won't be a top 10 QB.
That in and of itself, it is bold of me to say.
That's how good Trevor Lawrence is.
It is.
I don't think it would be. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that do great inside the top 10. So I don't think that's that bold, to be honest. I think it's more bold to say the other way. It would be more unlikely if he is the other side. If he is a top 10 quarterback.
You think it's more bold to say he will be a top 10 quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Fair enough.
But I also think he will be a top 10 quarterback. So
can we talk a little bit more about the Jaguars supporting cast? Because I do think it's been something that's been discussed a lot. I
think it's more than good enough.
Okay. Do they have a top 20 receiver in the NFL?
No.
Do they have a top 25 receiver in the NFL?
They have a good starting three, though.
A good starting three, none of which are top 25 receivers in the NFL.
Okay,
I'm just saying. Marvin Jones, DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault Jr., those are not top 25. They're not. PFF ranked all 32 wide receivers. None of them made the top 32.
That's fine.
I just think it's been overstated. And I think this offensive line is not as good as people think it is either, with Cam Robinson and so forth.
I think they have a top 20 receiving core and a top 20 offensive line.
Okay.
So
right at 19. Right at 19.
Yeah, right at 19 or 20 for both, but it's that's more than good enough to win if you have the quarterback.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, I'm interested to see how quickly things come together.
Right.
Also, Gardner Minshew cut his hair, so I think that's a factor. I think Gardner Minshew not bringing that aura.
He didn't want to compete with Trevor's locks,
dude. But Gardner cutting his hair honestly made me upset. He had some.
Also, his new haircut was,
but
not good. Yeah, it was not good.
It was not good.
Not to
hate on the artist.
Yeah.
Or do you call them artists? I don't think you do. Anyway,
yes,
you're up. Do you actually have an offensive player and bold prediction?
I had a bunch. Luckily, I had more offensive.
How many of them do you have OnlyFans that you subscribe to? Go ahead.
I have this one, maybe not the boldest. Kyle Pitts breaks the rookie tight end receiving record.
Oh, wow. Well, what is the record?
And no, so it's Mike Ditka, 1,063.
Mike Ditka has the record?
Yeah.
That record hasn't been broken for that long in the passing era?
That's what I looked it up. 1,076 yards, Mike Ditka, in 14 games. What a year.
That's insane.
Also, by the way.
That's insane.
So won 17 games, but now also it's he, without Julio Jones there.
Yeah. I think he's projected over 100 targets.
Yeah. I mean, and also
PFF.
that Falcons offense is one that should be projected to be passing the football a lot with their defense and the run game or lack thereof. So, Kyle Pitts breaks rookie tight end yardage record.
I like it. I think that's
maybe not that bold. I think a lot of people.
It's not that bold. Yeah, 17 games. Also, he's going to get a ton of targets. He's a clear number 2 in that offense. Even though a lot of people like Russell Gage. I'm excited about that one. According to PFF's projections, he's projected over 100 targets, I think over 800 receiving yards across a 17-game schedule if he does play all of those games. I got next one here, staying on a quarterback. Zach Wilson throws for more passing yards than Trevor Lawrence, which I know goes against PFF's projections. I think we have Zach Wilson at 3,998 and Trevor Lawrence around 4,100. I think the Jets might be behind in games more. 2, I also think I like the Jets supporting cast more than I like the Jags. I think they have a better offensive line. Potentially. Obviously, there's some missing pieces on the interior, but I think they might have a better offensive line, and their receiving core is better. Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore, they re-signed Jamison Crowder, Corey Davis. I think this is a better receiving core for Zach Wilson as well. I think this is going to be, and they got Mike LaFleur. I do think that Zach Wilson throws from him passing yards. He might not grade better, but I think the numbers are going to look really good for Zach Wilson in year one.
Whose offensive line would you rather have, Jets or the Jags?
Let me double check the interior because I feel like I have a good hold of the tackles here, but let me check on the interior because I don't like Cam Robinson. I'm not a big fan of. I mean, I do think Jawan Taylor has played well, but still not a top 20 tackle in the NFL. Yeah. That's not what he's been. You got Elijah Vera Tucker, Mekhi Becton on the left side, Connor McGovern on the interior. Then you got Greg Van Roten with scary and the George Fant. Like the right side is a little scary.
So by the time this goes, they may have signed Morgan Moses. They're interested in Morgan Moses. They signed Morgan Moses. I would probably rather have the Jets. Yes. If not, I'd probably rather have the Jets.
Because the Fant factor.
The Fant factor
probably keeps me in Jacksonville, but still. If they do sign Morgan Moses, I'm on board, man. I'm on board with the Jets offensive line and the Jets receiving core. Better situation. I'm all about it.
I disagree. Just because Trevor Lawrence. You know my thoughts. You know my thoughts, Trevor Lawrence.
That was great delivery. I disagree.
I do think both will have a lot of opportunity to pass.
Yeah.
They
can both clear 4,000 passing
defensive yards. Although I do think the Jets, if I had to pick one, the Jets probably better this year defensively. Just the coaching factor there. Okay, I'm going to stick with Jets. I have a Jets one here. With Zach Wilson. And that's Elijah Moore is going to be the Jets leading receiver.
Oh, I have a contradicting prediction there.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Don't you dare. Elijah Moore, though. Jets leading receiver. One, I see a very Deebo Samuel-esque introduction to him to the offense.
Really?
In that he's going to be the guy that gets the screens, the pop passes, the whatever, especially after Jamison Crowder got his contract cut in half. They obviously think that Moore, obviously drafted Moore and were willing to get rid of Crowder to give him targets. So I do think that in that offense, it's going to be very favorable to him producing early on. And I also just don't think Mims or Corey Davis are special dudes, whereas I do think Moore is.
I do think so. With the contract restructure for Jamison Crowder, he was a potential cut candidate with how that contract was structured. Like they could have cut him easier before the restructure. So they kind of committed to him for this season. And I don't think they do that unless they want to involve him, right? They're going to involve him in the slot. And for that reason, it's like, okay, is Elijah Moore going to split reps on the outside with Denzel Mims and Corey Davis? I'm not saying there's too many mouths to feed, but in terms of seeing the field, I don't know. I have Elijah Moore bold prediction. He goes under 700 yards and under 5 TDs. I just because I think they're going to spread the ball around more than people think. And I think even if he does get that Deebo Samuel stuff, it's going to have to be a lot of targets. If he's got that low average depth of target, it's going to have to be a lot of targets to get up there. And I think, again, too many mouths to feed is a cliche I don't like with how not mediocre, but like okay the receiving core is. But I think Corey Davis is going to see snaps. Denzel Mims has to see snaps. You have to see that second year development from Mims. And then Jamison Crowder, why would you restructure that contract if you're not going to have him a part of the offense? So unless you have him as this like kind of player coach role and actually Elijah Moore sees snaps ahead of him, that's going to be an interesting development for a lot of what?
Did you just call him a player coach role? I'm
just saying, like maybe Jamison Crowder isn't a starter. Like, would you say he is Jamison Crowder a starter for the Jets?
I mean, not if I'm predicting Elijah Moore.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, did you do this to keep him as a player coach, or did you do this to start him? Because you could have cut his ass before the restructure.
I mean, you obviously play 4 wide at times, but
4 wide at times, you're gonna play like fucking less than 10% of the time.
Yeah, I know. Like, and you always want talent anywhere. Wait, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you'd rather keep them than cut them outright, and they did.
All right,
that's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Well, that's my counter prediction. Elijah Moore goes under 700 yards and under 5 touchdowns in 2021.
I'll just say I disagree. Deebo Samuel, his rookie year, 17 screens thrown his way. 17 screens. He didn't even play the full season that year. So
how many yards did he finish for?
He finished over 800 yards.
Oh, wow.
As a rookie. So that's what I'm predicting. All right. And I'm going to stick out of the Jets. I had multiple Jets with 6.
Jeez.
Elijah Vera Tucker is going to be the highest graded rookie offensive lineman in the NFL.
Hell yeah. I like that. I mean, I can't disagree with that. I think of all the guys, he's going to come in and hit the ground running really quickly and playing alongside Mekhi Becton.
Yep.
I think that's going to be very helpful.
And a scheme that I think is going to be played to his strengths, probably the best out the gate of any of those 3. That I guess like Slater, Sewell, him, other guys that anyone would say are going to be the top graded. So, and that's, like I said, the scheme's going to play best to his strengths of anyone. And then he's going up against a division where maybe not the best interior talent in the NFL. You're not facing the best interior, like Pats, Bills, maybe Ed Oliver takes a step forward, but like Dolphins, there's no real difference maker there they got to worry about with him.
That is going to be interesting because last year I remember watching every single week Tristan Wirfs. He was obviously the highest graded rookie offensive lineman last year and one of the highest graded rookie offensive tackles we've ever seen since 2006. Every single week going back and watching just how quickly he was hitting the ground running and how much he was getting better every single week against top flight competition. Tristan Wirfs was like one of the most fun watches of any rookie every week because a lot of our process for the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast has been after the Sunday games, watching a lot of the rookie snaps and seeing how they perform. Like Tristan Wirfs every single time, really, really impressive tape. I think Elijah Vera Tucker is going to be in that same vein. A must rewatch every single week because obviously going to be tough on the broadcast film to see just how much he's dominating. But still, if he plays a full 17-game schedule, that's going to be a treat every single week. I'm sticking with quarterbacks here. I got 3 quarterback bowl predictions, and then obviously the Elijah Moore one that I already hit up. Justin Fields starts by week 4. So on the Matt, a little bit of a teaser here on the Chris Collinsworth podcast. Matt Nagy joined Chris Collinsworth. That podcast drops today at some point, but I've already heard it. I've got a little tidbit here. Matt Nagy says there's no way, not no way, but he pretty much says no way that Justin Fields starts week 1. The plan is to start Andy Dalton, which he has. That's not something contradictory that he said before, but the plan right now is to start Andy Dalton week 1. But you're looking at the Bears schedule. They got the Rams out of the gate, which is going to be tough in Los Angeles. Then they take on the Bengals at home. That one could be okay. And then the Browns in week 3 in Cleveland. Maybe they start out 1-2, and Andy Dalton doesn't look all that great. Why not start Justin Fields against the Lions at home, then the Raiders on the road, like those 2 games to get some confidence, and then you start to see where the schedule goes. I think I could see it by week 4.
I have a bold prediction here that's contradictory to that. I guess contradictory to that. Justin Fields is going to be the last rookie first rounder to start of the quarterbacks.
Oh, wow.
Because, and then nothing to do with Fields. Obviously, we love Fields. He was QB3, number 3 overall on the draft board. It's everything to do with the situation that the head coach and the GM are in that if you throw Fields out early. And
he doesn't play well.
SOL. That's not good. He plays a full season, 14 games, 13 games, whatever you're suggesting there, and looks bad. Gone.
You're screwed.
Clean house. GM's gone. Coach is gone. Whatever. You play him 2 or 3 games at the end of the year and he shows something, or a few games down the stretch. We got to stay. We got to see this through.
See it through.
We got to see the development through. And Matt Nagy especially can pull the Patrick Mahomes card. Mm-hmm. I was there rookie year, Patrick Mahomes. The fact that he sat in the bench until week 17 is why he is who he is now. He can say that. I don't know if it's true.
He could say that.
And he can say that to try to save his job, but he can't say that if Fields comes out and looks like Cheeks year 1, which a lot of rookie quarterbacks do. A lot of them do. Or just up and down, not necessarily the guy. Then that could be, and they go, whatever, 7-10, miss the playoffs.
And I think that's less of your counter prediction is less of a bold prediction than mine, because I do think that Matt Nagy is going into the season. I think Pace is going into the season wanting to see Andy Dalton start for a bulk majority, if not the entire 17-game schedule, and let Justin Fields have a full year under his belt before he enters year 2. But let's have this conversation. How often until the locker room starts to rumble? You already got Darnell Mooney smiling mid-deep bomb at Justin Fields' throws. Like, how long until the players like, man, we are 1-4 with Daltona, and we want to see the kid sling it? Like, does the player locker room, does that ever enter the conversation for you? Because that's some of what Miami dealt with last year. That's some of what Miami dealt with last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa on both sides. No, but on both sides, where like players are trying to push for certain players to start, and like you don't want that. You don't want players on different sides of which quarterback they want to play with and those types of things. That's not good culture.
No, I mean, that's obviously if he looks like the better guy, but I do think Dalton will be an upgrade over Trubisky and Foles from last year in terms of how he operates that offense. Like it won't look like a disaster the way it did a year ago.
So I thought Andy Dalton was going to look a lot better in Dallas, though, and I still don't think he came in and met expectations for me. I thought he was going to be able to enter that offense and have more success. Do you think Dalton plays better in Chicago than he did in Dallas?
Well, they had just a terrible offensive line by that point in time. So I do think he plays better than he did, yeah.
Gotcha. Because looking at this past year,
the
69.
Bears offensive line's not any great shakes this year, I will say so.
This past year, a 69.5 PFF passing grade for Andy Dalton there in Dallas across what was almost 400 dropbacks. And then, in his career, he's only had one season with an 80-plus PFF passing grade, and that was in 2015. I still think the range of outcomes for Andy Dalton is 65 to 75 is where you're probably going to see him from a PFF passing grade perspective in Chicago. You have to hope it's more towards the 75, and you can leverage that good defense to make a playoff run, and Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace continue to look forward with Justin Fields as their starter. But still, we will see how that goes down in Chicago. Shall we get now to your next bold prediction?
Yeah, I'll go to my next one, and I'll stick to the quarterbacks, and I'll say that Davis Mills is the starter in Houston within the first 6 weeks.
No way. You think that?
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor's goal in life, not goal in life, his purpose in life is to give way to the next quarterback within the first 5 weeks of the season. I just do. I think you know what Tyrod Taylor is, and it's not going to look good with the rest of that talent there offensively in Houston. And when it starts out bad with him the first few weeks, it's going to be like, why the hell not? Throw this guy in there, because we would have a lot of other options helping us. And we invested our first pick in this year's draft in that guy. Yeah, it was in the third round, but that was our first time we were drafting. We got to see what we got.
Man, Davis Mills starts that early. This Houston Texans team is going to be in a world of hurt. I do think that, man, Tyrod Taylor, if he does start more games, their over win total, I think, is at 2.5. Like, I know that the roster's not good, and it's been a joke. They canceled mandatory minicamp. Like, no one even knows what's going on there in Houston. But 2.5 games over a 17-game schedule, you almost have to think, like, luck comes into play. At some point, 2.5 games just feels too low. And plus, why not choose violence? Why not go into the season with an over 2.5 win totals bet on Houston, so every single week you're rooting for something, and you get to watch Davis Mills and cheer for that team? I feel like it could be a good time. If you like misery, I mean, I like misery. Sometimes, I can get on board. No?
No,
all right.
You want to be rooting for them. What's his face?
Yeah.
The bald. Who's his name?
Why are you got to make fun of these guys now? Call them out people bald?
Okay, well, I'm just trying to think of what's the guy's name. I can't think of his name. The
head coach?
No,
Casario?
You know what I'm talking about. The religious dude.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay. The guy, the puppet master behind the scenes. Why?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm losing his name as well. I know who you're talking about.
All right.
But either way, Houston 2.5 win total. I'm interested. It's an interesting conversation. We're talking a lot about quarterbacks, and I don't think I've gotten your take on what the Denver Broncos should do.
Jack Easterby.
Easterby. That's right.
Yeah.
What's your take on? I know this is a little bit of a sidestep from the rookie conversation, but right now Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock taking 50-50 snaps. What do you think is the best case scenario for that team and how they play that quarterback position? Do they give Drew Lock another shot?
I think best case scenario is Drew Lock beats him out. I think you have an open competition. I don't foresee him necessarily looking better than Teddy. I think Teddy's like a sound whatever, like just because you know where you're getting with Teddy. It's not, he can lead you to the playoffs. I'm not sure he's leading you to, or I'm not sure he's not leading you to a Super Bowl unless your defense is all world. So obviously you want Drew Lock to, if you're a Broncos fan, you want Drew Lock to win that competition because he gives you he's got more of the unknown, untapped there. But I don't think there's not much in his profile from the first 2 years to suggest that he will.
Plus, the reports out of minicamp right now is that he's thrown some picks. He's not as accurate as Teddy B, which I guess aren't surprising. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater has been consistently accurate, especially if you go back to that 5-game stretch for the New Orleans Saints a few years ago. Before I get to my next bold rookie prediction, got a message from the sponsors here. In these uncertain times, life is full of questions. Like, when should I start thinking about life insurance? But however difficult these questions may be, Western Southern can help you answer them. Backed by over 130 years of experience, together we can look ahead to leave the unknown behind. Western Southern Financial Group, life insurance, retirement, and investments. Also, PFF has partnered with Symbol. That's SIMBULL, the stock market for sports that allows you to trade sports teams like stocks and earn cash payouts when your teams win. Symbol has blended sports and the stock market to offer you a new way to invest and profit off your favorite teams. The MLB is in full swing for the rest of summer, allowing you to earn daily cash payouts. And NFL free agency is still going on. So whoever lands the top of the market player will sure to see their team's stock rise. Use promo code PFF and deposit $10 at symbol.app/PFF to earn a free PFF annual subscription. That's promo code PFF with a $10 deposit at symbol.app/PFF to earn a free annual subscription. All right, I'm off the quarterbacks. I'm on to receivers. I know I already gave you my Elijah Moore goes under 700 yards and 5 TDs, and I like Elijah Moore. So much of that conversation, again, was around just like Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, Jamison Crowder, their contract restructure. I just think the ball's going to get spread around more than we think, and he might not have the requisite targets or the requisite snaps or routes run to clear that figure. But I have Jamar Chase here, a little bit more positive. He's currently projected, I think, a little over 1,000 yards across the 7-game schedule and at like 5.2 TDs, according to PFF's fantasy projections. I got him going over 1,200 yards and 7 TDs for the Cincinnati Bengals this year. I know, Quinn, you don't got the mic back there, but I hope you're fist pumping because I do think Ja'Marr Chase not only will be the leading receiver on the Bengals, that's obvious, but I think he's going to clear marks, man. I don't know if he actually gets to Justin Jefferson's 1,400-yard mark, that record, but, man, I think he does clear 1,200. You think he will?
I said he would.
You said he would?
I said he would.
Well, I think he clears 1,207 touchdowns this upcoming season, and people are like legit come away with Ja'Marr Chase as the best rookie receiver in
You're
this
not going to go bold and say he's going to break Randy Moss's touchdown record?
What's Randy Moss's touchdown record?
17.
Not his rookie record.
Yeah, I think it was 17.
He had 17 touchdowns as a rookie?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God. No, I'm not saying that. That would be it. I don't know. That would be absurd, but I do think he goes over 1,207 TDs.
Yeah. I think so as well. Yeah, he had 17 as rookie. I think he's going to be a monster from day one. And I think that offense is going to be built in such a way that it's going to be conducive to him putting up yardage as well. So I can get on board.
I do think it's a no excuses year to stay on the Bengals for a little bit. I do think it's a no excuses year for Zach Taylor, man. Like, we need to see development from this offense. We need to see development from Joe Burrow. The offensive line is no longer an excuse, in my opinion. Is it great? No, but it's good enough. And I think the receiving core, you have Ja'Marr Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. Defensively, throw it out the window. I don't care if they finish 32nd in EPA per play allowed on defense. Yeah. But if this offense isn't ranking inside the top 15, inside the top 12, there are legitimate concerns. Like, eventually we need to see it. I do think Zach Taylor, and I think I tweeted this, his seat should be hotter from a firing perspective than Matt Nagy and Vic Fangio. I think he is in a better situation this year to have success than even those other guys.
Yeah, do you think he's the hottest seat in the NFL right now? Who's the hottest seat in the NFL, would you say?
You know what? Here's an interesting take. Mike Zimmer.
Oh, I disagree with that. Zimmer's great DC.
You think?
Yeah.
I feel like they've whiffed on some picks in the secondary. He's obviously invested a ton in the secondary. I do think the defense has been good, but like we still have not seen significant deep postseason runs outside of obviously the Minnesota Miracle a few years ago. I still don't when's Mike Zimmer going to go over the top? Like, when are we going to see him go over the top? I don't know. I think Mike Zimmer could be potentially on the hot seat, but
like he's arm wrestling.
That was being more of a bold take. I think Zach Taylor could probably be hotter. John Gruden, though, anyone who's saying John Gruden's on the hot seat is just high. No. Like, Mark Davis is not going to move on from John Gruden. They could be the worst team in the NFL this year. They're not going to move on from John Gruden. So I do think Zimmer, enters the conversation for me. I think Zach Taylor obviously enters the conversation for me.
Yeah, I think it has to be Zach Taylor. I think he has to be the hottest seat in the NFL. If I were to even pick anyone else,
McCarthy. I know some people have concerns about McCarthy. Maybe
McCarthy or Kingsbury, if the Cardinals really fall behind in that division.
Yeah, early. Kingsbury. That's a guy I think should be on the hot seat. I agree.
I think those two, but I don't know how you can say anyone other than Zach Taylor. Just been a bad team for 2 straight years and was never like a guy. And they're like, and you mentioned the offensive is where you need to see it. I agree with that because you came in as bringing the McVay tree to Cincinnati, bringing this revolutionary offense or whatever, this guru to Cincinnati, and it has been anything but. And
from what I've heard, obviously there's been a lot of positives around like the culture he's brought to Cincinnati and the people he's named leaders in that organization, in that clubhouse. But still, like, at a certain point, it's got to lead to dubs. And at a certain point, it's got to lead to top 12, top 10 offensive play, because I think they're capable of that. They have enough pieces in place to have that in 2021. We got to see it. And I think that starts with Ja'Marr Chase, over 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns in 2021.
All right, I will stay at the wide receiver position. And mine was that Terrace Marshall, the Carolina Panthers second-round pick out of LSU, goes for more yards than the 3 wide receivers drafted before him combined. The 3 right before him.
Okay, who were they?
They were Rondale Moore, Dwayne Eskridge, and Tutu Atwell.
That's actually a fantastic take.
So the Panthers lost 851 yards with Curtis Samuel going to Washington. Should be, you would think, theoretically improved passing game, or they would hope so. Though I gave a second and a 4th rounder for Sam Darnold. And obviously he's going to slot right in there as kind of just all around the number 3 in that offense. So
also the familiarity with Joe Brady.
Yeah. So that and the fact that kind of the guys ahead of him, Rondale, Eskridge, and Atwell, are all kind of one-trick dudes.
One-trick dudes, and also probably not like clear favorites to get a significant target share. I think that's a really good take. I'm going to stay at the wide receiver position as well. Devontae Smith leads all Eagles pass catchers in yards and touchdowns and goes over 1,000 total yards and 5 touchdowns. I think his projections are slightly under that. I think he is the leading receiver for Jalen Hurts. I think a lot of people are fading him because Jalen Hurts is projected to be bottom 5, bottom 8 quarterback in the NFL. But I think the yards have to come somewhere. And I also think they could be behind a decent amount. I think he is going to be Jalen Hurts' top target is going to be DeVonta Smith. It's not going to be Jalen Reagor. It's not going to be Zach Ertz. It's going to be DeVonta Smith. And I think the top target in that offense goes over 1,000 and 5 touchdowns in 17 games. 100%. It's not Arcega-Whiteside. It's not Miles Sanders.
Did you see the catch, JJ?
No, I didn't see 17? The catch. And you didn't send it to me?
The one week 17? No, week 17.
Oh, week 17 catch. I thought maybe catch. OTAs or something.
Oh, He probably hasn't.
No, it's not going to be Arcega-Whiteside. It's not going to be Jalen Reagor. It's not going to be Zach Ertz. It's not going to be Goddard. It's going to be DeVonta Smith. And I think the leading receiver in that offense across the 17-game schedule at least clears 1,000 and 5 TDs.
Man, there was who had the take from? Did Ian have the take that DeVonta Smith's a better fantasy receiver than DJ Moore this year?
I think he did have that take.
Oof, I can't get bored with that.
Do you even know anything about fantasy football?
More catches is better.
See, that's not, you have to factor in like target share and all this all this other shit where opportunity matters so much more in fantasy football than how good they are. Honestly, it matters so much.
I just don't think he's going to have opportunity either because they're going to be running the ball
he's going to have opportunity, dude. He's going to have
Hurts
opportunity.
is going to be Hurts. All right, I'll stick with the wide receiver.
Oh, sorry, Darnold will be better. I apologize. No, I apologize.
Last one at the wide receiver position here for me, and it is Amari Rodgers is the clear-cut number 2 in Green Bay.
Ooh, I like that. And you weren't even an Amari Rodgers guy.
But, I'm not a huge Amari Rodgers fan, but I do think I'm a bigger fan of him than MVS.
Yeah.
And Alan Lazard, that's for damn sure, just in terms of...
St. Brown's still there too, right?
Yeah, St. Brown's still there. But I do think that from a route running perspective, I just think he's already better and already going to be more reliable than those two. And now I don't think you're going to be putting up numbers, across the Devontae Adams or anything, but I think he is the clear-cut number 2 in that offense.
Number 2 ahead of Robert Tonyan. Yeah. Wow. I think Tonyan still takes the number 2. I think from a numbers perspective too, I think he finishes more yards than Amari Rodgers. I think it depends. But do you think, so where are you at right now? I know there's been a lot of postmortem on this, on the Aaron Rodgers conversation. Do you think Aaron Rodgers plays in Green Bay? Do you think he doesn't? Is it Jordan Love?
My opinion has not changed. I think we talked about this already. He's not, maybe I talked about it with Steve. He's gonna either retire or get traded. He's not gonna show up to camp. He's not gonna show up to camp. He's not gonna talk to his family anytime soon. He's gonna do exactly what he wants to do and not have his mind swayed by a few million more dollars, because it's not about the dollars.
Yeah.
It's about the culture, as he's stated. So or maybe he didn't say it, but as is reported, and if that's the case, that's not changing anytime soon.
So I had Eric Eager, VP of Research Development here at PFF, also the host of the PFF Forecast, one of the co-hosts of the PFF Forecast. I think George Curry technically plays the host role on that podcast. He ran the projections for Jordan Love, played all 17 games this year. 4,149 passing yards.
Okay, never mind.
No. 4,149 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, and 15 picks. Your initial thoughts on those numbers?
Seems
24 passing TDs.
Generous.
Yeah. Well, I think the yardage total is generous. 24 touchdowns, though, is obviously low, and that ratio is obviously pretty disgusting. So I do think that because if he only throws for 24 TDs, that means Adams is only going to clear like maybe 10 or 11. That would be underwhelming scoring expectations from Jordan Love. And that doesn't even bring up the rushing yards. I think he bumped up his rushing share a little bit, obviously more than where Aaron Rodgers is rushing as well. But your overall thoughts on Jordan Love across a 17-game schedule?
I don't think it's going to be good.
You don't think it's going to be good?
I don't think it's going to be good if he plays a 17-game schedule for them. I don't think it'll be a disaster, but I just don't. I think it'll be, middling numbers like that, picks, and just not a guy that can elevate.
All right, moving to running backs.
Okay.
Najee Harris. According to PFF's fantasy projections, he is projected a little under 285 combined touches, so carries and receptions. I think he clears that number. I think he goes to 325 plus. I think he's going to have a ton of volume in that offense. I won't speak to his efficiency. I won't speak to his grade. I won't speak to the success of the Steelers offense, but I do think they're going to ride this kid. I think they're going to absolutely give him the football a ton. I think he's going to be the clear-cut number 1. I don't think they're going to want to do a balanced approach with Snell and some of the other backs there. I think Najee Harris is going to be the workhorse. I think they're going to want to do, they don't run a ton of play action there. They're going to run the football a ton, though. I do think Najee Harris gets a lot of volume. And as a pass catcher, we talked about Najee Harris as a pass catcher. And they're already, Ben Roethlisberger and him are already connecting there. And I think I've liked the reports out of camp in terms of what the offense wants to do with Najee Harris. I think he gets over that number and honestly becomes a legitimate fantasy option because of the volume.
I'm very curious to see what the offense will look like now with Matt Canada, because he has a unique way in which he goes about scheming out pretty much everything, like the motions.
He's a unique guy. He's a unique guy.
Yeah. And so, and a well-traveled guy. He's been all over the place already over the last decade, but not a lot of stops in the NFL, mostly college. So see what he brings to the table, because
I think that would be a good get for the podcast.
Roethlisberger has, obviously been not shy about his disdain for certain aspects of, play action. I think even like shifts in motion, stuff like that, pre-snap stuff. So I'm curious to see how they will approach.
Producer Dave, go make a play for Canada. I want to get him on the podcast. Talk a little bit about Big Ben. Talk a little bit about the progression of this young receiving core. Juju coming back. Najee Harris obviously entering the fold. Let's go get Matt Canada on the podcast. I like that. Your next bold prediction.
This is my final one. I think
I only have one more too.
Okay. Chris Evans,
running back
from Michigan, going to the hometown Cincinnati Bengals, getting meaningful touches by the end of the year, splitting some touches with Joe Mixon.
Meaningful touches. Put a number on that.
Splitting touches.
So he's playing 50% of the snaps?
Splitting.
You are sitting on a fence.
He's a 6th-round running back. That's not sitting on a fence. 6th-round running backs aren't supposed
How many carries does he get in the last 4 games total? Put a number on it.
20.
Okay. He's going to average 5 carries a game over the last 4 games.
He's a 6th-round running back.
All right.
I mean, you go back and look at how many 6th-round running backs got any touches last year.
I think it's so bold, dude.
I'm saying.
Honestly, lead with that to bars. I think it's going to freaking pull. Okay.
I keep telling people, I'm at the bars, I'm like, Chris Evans. You got to hear. You got this.
Oh, the Michigan guy?
Yeah.
I think you get meaningful reps. Me too.
Chris Evans.
Me too. What's your number?
He has to fight over Samaje Perine, the NCAA record holder for single game rushing yards.
That's right. All right.
Which actually was a question at trivia, and I got the number wrong. I was sad. That was pretty.
Oh man.
I know.
Samaje Perine. A lot of people like Perine coming out of Oklahoma.
I did not.
A little slow to go. All right. Last one here for me. Michael Carter, UNC running back, ranks top 12 among all running backs in the NFL. If he clears 100 carries, I don't want to do it on a low sample size. Ranks top 12 in forced missed tackles per attempt.
Oh.
And I think Javonte Williams, staying with UNC, this is a double, ranks top 10 in yards after contact per attempt among all running backs. I think both of them clear over 100 carries in year one. I think they put out some Tony Pollard-like numbers. I remember when Pollard was getting like a little over 100 carries, I think a little over 80 carries early in his career, and he was ranking nice really high. Some really good efficiency numbers. I think Carter and Williams, forced missed tackles for Carter, ranked top 12. Top 10 yards after contact per attempt for Javonte Williams, UNC running back. We've talked about it a ton on the podcast, but both those guys ranked, I think, inside the top 5 in the Power 5 in both those metrics last year. Like, they were legitimate yard creators for UNC and how they approached the game.
I have to think Carter outsnaps Perine.
Yeah.
Perine was just night and day in terms of
this is LaMichael
elusiveness. Michael Perine, sorry, yeah. A lot of Perines coming on the show.
Too many.
Michael Perine at Florida was not particularly elusive.
Yeah.
Not a dynamic back. He's a very kind of just NFL back from a size, speed, whatever perspective, but not a guy
train tracks back
that goes, not a guy that goes above and beyond. Which also funny story about Michael Perine. I met a girl in Orlando one time who that was her ex-boyfriend. So.
That's not a funny story.
Oh, that wasn't funny, actually. It was just a story. That was just a reference about Michael Perine.
I met a girl that used to date Michael Perine.
You met a girl who used to date Michael Perine. Said she had unfavorable things to say about him, but that's
not about his rushing ability.
That's an ex, yeah.
Yeah. She wasn't saying like he's not that elusive, right? What would she bring? Did she talk about his elusiveness?
Well, he's elusive to get on the phone now, yeah.
And I think Javonte Williams too has a lot of success early on and will have high efficiency yards after contact. He broke the PFF record for single season yards after contact per attempt this past year at UNC. Young player, smart player. I think he hits the ground running. I'm excited for both the UNC running backs in 2021. Shall we now get to Kyle Whittingham, longtime Utah head coach. He's been there for, I think, since the 90s. He's been with Utah. A lot of good conversation around some of the defensive backs that have come out of Utah of late. Terrell Burgess, Julian Blackmon, Marcus Williams. And I also talked a little bit about this upcoming season. And, they have some really interesting skill players, some good depth at wide receiver and running back. Talked a little bit about that. And obviously the transfer. Charlie Brewer, former Baylor quarterback, now playing there at Utah. A lot of high expectations for Brewer, man. They love Brewer. He calls him a dog, calls him tough. He's just this difference maker at the quarterback position, brings an aura about him that a lot of people around the Utah football are excited about. Let's go ahead now and jump to the interview with Kyle Whittingham.
Now joining the 2-Point Draft Podcast is current Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham. Kyle, where I'd like to start, man, I didn't know you were a California guy. Born in San Luis Obispo. I'm from Oakland, California. Went to school at San Diego State. Do you find yourself missing NorCal at all, or now that you're down there in Utah?
Well, I was born in San Luis, as you mentioned, but grew up down in L.A. County, and so moved up here to Utah, right before high school. So I guess I'm kind of from both places, but sure miss the weather at times down there, but love it here in Salt Lake City, and so no complaints with where I'm at.
Fantastic, man. Where I'd like to start is honestly the experience that you've had in coaching at Utah for a long time now. I think dating back to 1994, started there as a Utah defensive line coach, coached under your dad, Fred Mad Dog Whittingham. But you've also had some experience in coaching under Urban Meyer, was there in 2003 and in 2004. What are your what are some of your major takeaways from the experience that you did have coaching under Urban Meyer? Obviously, after now seeing the success at Florida, on to Jacksonville. What were some of the major takeaways you had before you obviously took the reins as head coach there at Utah?
Well, first of all, I was on the staff prior to Urban getting the job. I was with Coach McBride, who was let go in 2002, and I thought I was ready for the head coaching job, and I was a little disappointed when I didn't get it, when Urban got the nod, and as it turns out, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because having the opportunity to work for Urban for 2 years and learn more about the ins and outs of head coaching and just being able to watch him and work alongside him was invaluable. And Coach McBride was awesome. I learned a ton about recruiting. That was really his strength, is recruiting and the way we went about things in that regard. With Urban, it was the meticulous, detailed, just the day-to-day operations, how everything was so mapped out. Nothing was left to chance. Everything was mapped out well in advance, and just his organizational skills were really incredible, and something that I really needed to experience. And so it was a great 2 years. And of course, he went on to Florida and then Ohio State. Now, of course, he's with Jacksonville. So he's had a phenomenal career, but we still remain close friends, and take or talk to him, at least a couple times a month.
That's awesome, man. And knowing what you know about his leadership style and how he ran the program there at Utah, how do you feel his skill set will translate to the NFL? Obviously now leading adult men and no longer recruiting. You're doing a ton of different things there in the NFL. How do you feel that his skill set will translate to the NFL?
I think it'll translate very well, and he's extremely intelligent and understands that it's a different athlete you're working with and a different mindset. You can't treat professional players like you treat college players. It's a completely different world, and he's the way he operates and the way he his way of handling people is, I got no doubt that he's going to do a great job with that, and that the players will respond to him, and that given time he'll be successful.
I want to dive a little bit more into Utah's history, a little bit talking about Jalen Johnson, Terrell Burgess, some of these secondary defensive backs that have come out of Utah of late. Marquise Blair, Julian Blackman, 2 years ago, Marcus Williams. It's been, an underrated, secondary factory for NFL talent of late. Can you speak to kind of the biggest difference that Utah's football program in developing defensive backs, developing secondary talent? What do you think has been such a big part of, kind of pushing out so much talent in the NFL, specifically at quarterback and safety?
Well, a few things. Number one, you got to give a ton of credit to our defensive coordinator, Morgan Scalley, who also coaches the safeties, and Sharif Shah, who's our corner coach. And those guys do a great job of, first of all, getting the right talent in the program. The guys with the upside, the guys with the skill set that you have to be a successful defensive back at this level and beyond. And so that's the first order of business, is doing your evaluations and making sure that we recruit the right type of people. And then once they get them here, those two coaches do a great job of developing that talent and getting the most out of every player that we have in the secondary. And their track record speaks for itself. We've had many, many guys move on to the NFL, as you mentioned. And also, some of those guys were not defensive backs when they got here. Some of them were wide receivers that we converted, and so it's a situation where we've started to have a good enough history with these guys that when we approach a player, say, hey, we think that maybe your upside is greatest at this position here. There's credibility because they understand that it's worked in the past for several guys in our program, and so that helps out as well, is getting the right people in the right spots.
I think that's obvious in how well those players specifically have translated so quickly in the NFL. I think that's what I've been most impressed with. I had an opportunity to talk to Jalen Johnson in the pre-draft process last year. Just his instincts, his knowledge of the game was really what stood out for me, in addition to obviously being super successful there on the outside. Looking ahead now to Utah football this upcoming season, a lot of the conversation, a lot of the spotlight is around Charlie Brewer, and you read a lot of the article content coming out right now around him. A lot of people are excited about Charlie Brewer. I think I saw a headline includes he's a dog. Talk about what Charlie Brewer specifically brings to this football team and kind of the expectations surrounding him this upcoming season.
Well, the first adjective you use in describing Charlie is toughness. I mean, he's got a great deal of toughness and competitiveness. He's a guy that is just driven, and he's only been here for 6 months now, but he's really made a big impact in the time he's been here. Had a terrific spring ball, really progressed and digested the offense and did a great job running the offense. Now, all that being said, he's going to have a challenge with Cam Rising in this fall camp. Cam was the guy that ultimately won the job last year in a quarterback competition and got hurt in the first quarter of the first game. And so it was a significant shoulder injury, and so it knocked him out of commission for several months. But now he's back and cleared and ready to compete again this fall camp. And so between Charlie and Cam, it should be a great battle. But getting back to Charlie, he's just got that it factor that you look for in a quarterback. He's the type of guy that the other players will rally around. They believe in him, and he just exudes confidence. He's got that field general mentality.
I think where I can finish here, and I really appreciate the time. I know you don't have, you're a super busy guy, but I'd love to talk a little bit about the skill players and specifically the depth you have there offensively. I know you're getting Britton Kobe back, a little bit of an older veteran player, injury, mission trip, kind of leaves more eligibility for him. And Jalen Dixon didn't get an opportunity to play in 2020, but was going to transfer. He'll be back there at Utah. I know the running back, you've added some depth. LSU transfer Chris Curry, Oklahoma transfer TJ Pledger, also a former UC Bearcat and Tavian Thomas that went to the community college route for a little bit. So what is your opinion overall on the depth you have there at running back and receiver? And who do you feel like are going to be some clear-cut leaders for both those groups?
Yeah, we feel good about both those positions. We feel good about the offense in its entirety, for that matter. We've got a bunch of offensive linemen back. We think we have maybe one of the best, if not the best, tight end groups in the country as far as just as a unit. And so we've got a lot of weapons and receiving core specifically. Britton Covey is the headliner. He's the guy that has been with us for a lot of years now. He's also one of the best punt return guys in the country. He's all Pac-12 as a freshman and just this past year as a punt returner. And so he's a weapon for us. Jalen Dixon, you mentioned, has got great speed. He's probably the fastest receiver that we got on the team. I think he's like a 10.4, 10.300 meter guy. And we've got a lot of maturity and a lot of depth at that position, a lot of upperclassmen. And so we got that with a blend of some new recruits that we're really excited about. So between the receiving core and then the running backs, as you mentioned, we think we should have a chance to be pretty competitive on offense and pretty productive.
Fantastic stuff, Coach. I really appreciate the time.
Kyle Whittingham joins the show. We are cleaning up on the head coach interviews in college football. We're going to have Jeff Collins there at Georgia Tech on the podcast here pretty soon. We're also going to look into a handful more. We'll continue to send out these emails and get some people on, which is a lot of fun. I want Matt Canada too, Dave. We're going to get Matt Canada on. We are cleaning up here in the summer. Excited about it. Very much looking forward to it. Really appreciate everyone who works on 2-for-1 Drafts podcast. Producer Dave, producer Max Chadwick, Mike Quinn, Mike Renner, Austin Gayle, 2-for-1 Drafts.